The Saga of Erik the Viking by Terry Jones. Erik and the Storm. This is the tale of a Viking warrior who lived hundreds and hundreds of years ago. His name was Erik. His ship was called Golden Dragon, and its figurehead was a fierce monster carved out of wood and covered with gold leaf. One day, Erik said to his wife, "I must find a land where the sun goes at night." But his wife replied, "No one has ever been to that far country, and of those who have tried, few have ever returned." "You are right," said Erik, "but until I have sought that distant land, I shall never sleep in my bed again." So he called his son, who was 15 years old, and told him he must guard their home by day and night. Then he took his sword, which was called Blue Blade, stepped on board Golden Dragon, and sailed off towards the setting sun. That night they sailed on far from land, and Erik stood at the helm of Golden Dragon, gazing into the darkness. Erik's men whispered to each other that they were seeking the land where the sun goes at night, and that no one had ever found it and lived to tell the tale. Just then, a bright green light appeared above them, and a star, shaped like a dragon, leapt across the sky. Erik turned to his men and said, "We shall find what we seek." And no one dared say a word after that. The next morning, they found themselves alone on the ocean, with great waves heaving the ship up and down. Erik looked up into the sky and smelt the wind. "We shan't make it," whispered Erik's men, one to the other, as the storm clouds blotted out the sun. "We'll be wrecked at sea," they murmured as the first drops of rain fell on the deck. "There's land," called out Erik. "Take down the sails. We'll have to row for it." They leant on their oars as the rain began to pour down on them, and the speck of land on the horizon got bigger as the skies got darker and the sea grew rougher. But they rowed with all their might and all their main, and, as the lightning forked across heavens and the thunder rolled all around them, they got closer and closer to land. "Rocks to port!" cried the lookout, and the helmsman steered the Golden Dragon round to starboard. "Rocks to starboard!" cried the lookout, and Golden Dragon swung back to port again. "Look out ahead!" cried Erik, and the golden monster on the helm scraped against the rocks as the sea dragged them down and then threw them up again. "We've had it now!" cried Erik's men one to the other, and they shut their eyes. "Keep rowing!" cried out Erik, and he steered the ship between the rocks and the boiling sea until at once they found themselves in a deep fjord. One by one, Erik's men opened their eyes. The rain still poured down on them, and the lightning lit up the wild rocks above them. But the water was calm, and they were safe. "Now we must sleep," said Erik. "But tomorrow we shall repair Golden Dragon before we dare go back on the high seas." His men laid the mast down and threw the sails across it like a tent, and there they slept for the rest of that stormy night.